This is Hannibal from thehannibaltv.com, and I have a news update for you. Triple H did a conference call yesterday. I listened to it. It was about NXT. It was pretty boring overall. The main thing he said was sometime in the near future, there's going to be a week where they test doing NXT taping outside of Full Sail, because Full Sail is booked on a Wednesday night where they usually tape live there on Wednesday nights. So we might see a test from a different city. Also, according to Dave Meltzer, Triple H doesn't really care about all these call-outs that NXT wrestler Matt Riddle has been doing with Brock Lesnar. Apparently Lesnar doesn't like it and Vince doesn't like it, but it doesn't bother Triple H, who is the head of talent relations and one of the directors of creatives at WWE. Matt Hardy's apparently done with WWE. It is expected that he'll go to AEW with his old broken gimmick. Jeff Cobb debuted for AEW last night on Dynamite. He's still a free agent. Apparently, he hasn't signed a contract. They want him to sign a contract. They've wanted him to sign one ever since his Ring of Honor deal expired in December. But right now, it looks like he's still going to be wrestling for at least New Japan, and he hasn't signed anything. Davey Boy Smith Jr., who is the Hannibal TV heavyweight champion, he's scheduled to be wrestling for Great North Wrestling next August 8th on our 13th anniversary event in Ottawa. Tickets for that one are at ticketweb.ca. But he appeared on WWE's The Bump YouTube show yesterday alongside his old Hart Dynasty partners, Natalya and Tyson Kidd. According to the Wrestling Observer, David Hart Smith is his WWE name, but Davey Boy Smith Jr. is what he's going by now. Apparently, he's going to be with All Japan Pro Wrestling in Japan going forward, starting with their big carnival tournament, and he's likely going to get a good push with that company. Ralph Ficaros, his beautiful day in Nevada. Well, it's very cold here, as always, in the winter. So enjoy your nice weather. Sir Graves 56, does Great North Wrestling go to Detroit? No, we don't go to Detroit. We mostly do the 3-hour radius of Ottawa, Canada. We used to go further. We used to go to 4 different provinces, but I'm less interested in promoting these days and more interested in interviews. I just promote maybe 4 times a year on average the past 3 or 4 years. BJ Penn is under investigation by the Hawaii Police Department for a possible DUI stemming from an accident he was in last week. He was operating a black Toyota Tacoma pickup truck when he was involved in a single vehicle crash. According to an officer, it was indicated that the truck was speeding, lost control, and flipped into an area that fronts Prince Kahio Plaza. So Penn was the only occupant of the vehicle and was transported by ambulance to Hio Medical Center. The extent of his injuries are unknown. We've seen some unfortunate stuff happen with BJ Penn involving alcohol. In recent years, he got in a bar fight and ended up getting a UFC fight canceled over his bar fight last fall. So let's hope that the blood draws that they did in relation to was he under the influence here indicate that it was just an accident or he could be in more trouble. Nat Diaz is apparently considering legal action after the Miami Herald reported he was involved in an altercation with Miami police and was hospitalized. In reality, The person that was actually involved in the altercation was Michael Albert Nates, a local MMA fighter from Miami. So they had their fighters confused. In XFL news, according to Dave Meltzer, the games were heavily papered for the first weekend. They had over 17,000, but under 18,000 for all 4 games the first weekend. And Meltzer says a lot of tickets were reportedly given away free for these games. They do have a good amount of season tickets sold in some markets. They hired a company to help them with that. Apparently, the XFL game attendance was not as good as it was for the first weekend of their very first season. So it didn't do as good as the first season, but there wasn't many complaints about the first weekend. For the most part, it had good reviews, and the TV numbers were good, considering that none of the games aired in prime time. You can't call it a success after just 1 week, but it was off to a good start. So that's pretty much all the news for now. They haven't had the AEW and NXT ratings come in yet, but I highly suspect AEW will have won again. Every review I've heard about the AEW show has pretty much been a good one. I did see something. They did something off camera where they had someone dressed up as Jesus and Scooby-Doo tag team up to face another team, and then the Young Bucks basically did super kicks to the other team. Jesus and Scooby-Doo pinned them. I guess it must have been a no DQ match, and that was something that happened off camera, I guess, although it is online. I don't know if they're going to use that on their dark or not, but they seem to like to do goofy stuff like this sometimes after the shows. We saw a few months ago Tony Khan giving a stunner to Sean Spears and the referee giving a stunner to the Sean Spears. So I guess after the cameras stop rolling, it's fun time in AEW, and it appears to be working for them. So can't comment on that. So the Wrestling Observer comes out today, so probably around 1 a.m. Friday morning, I will do my weekly Wrestling Observer review with all the recaps of the wrestling news and attendance of the week. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for the comments.